And here is the little note 500. Basically, the Fed's decision went just the way we all dreamed it would. That's not so cool, as I also mentioned. Greetings to all the XRP fans out there. Yeah, what was going on yesterday? No one saw that coming. The interest rate decision actually went as we had imagined, but there was still a big correction. Bitcoin got dragged down nearly 6% and immediately thought, hey, let's take altcoins along for the ride. Yeah, what you should pay attention to now, and especially what you should do with your altcoin portfolio, you'll find out in this video. We also have a drawing from yesterday's giveaway and a new door from the Advent calendar. We don't have many left. Let's open one today. So I would definitely stick around until after the intro. But what exactly happened now? So basically, the Fed's decision, or at least I thought so, went just the way we all dreamed it would, because there's a 0.25% interest rate cut. The bad news, unfortunately, at this particular point in time, is that all these interest rate cuts in 2025 are indeed set to happen much more slowly than we had initially imagined. So it was only announced that there should be just 2 interest rate cuts in 2025. But all in all, I still thought, how crazy, how weird that is, that it's causing such a fuss. Well, the Fed will not hold Bitcoin or push for strategic reserves, said Jerome Powell. That's not so impressive, because regarding that, just to give you a little bit of context in case you can't quite grasp it, it's about the US Bitcoin reserves. There's the big supporter Donald Trump on one side, and on the other side there's Jerome Powell, who is quite powerful and can quickly say, yeah guys, no, we don't really need to push for that right now in the context of... And that led to complete dampening of enthusiasm. By the way, just a little self-promotion here. If you're interested, you can definitely follow me on X. And there you can also get all the important, relevant information. So I also asked that question yesterday. Then Jerome Powell's response was shared very quickly, so you'll be up to date even faster. And by the way, there's a new uptrend trading group now. It's not just trading, there are also coin tips, and I have some bonuses that I negotiate with exchanges and projects. So if you're interested, check out the description, there's the link for that. We've already got over 100 subscribers, and you won't miss any facts there because only I can post, along with the current market news, etc. I'll share that there. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, how does that actually work? There was talk about how Gary Gensler, who just threw in the towel on his own, was mentioned alongside Trump, who also wants to get rid of the Fed chair, Powell. Yeah, is that even possible? And that's a very interesting question. If you look back into the past, Donald Trump is the person who actually appointed Powell to his position, or rather nominated him. That continued under Biden. And now Trump is saying, oh no, I don't think that's so cool anymore. So they really clashed back then because Trump wanted interest rate cuts to boost the economy, and Powell said, no, I'm not doing that. And that was just, really definitely not so cool. On the other hand, it's also important to mention that when asked if Powell would step down, he clearly said, no, I'm not doing that. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Because I've also read a bit more into it. Trump in that role, he can't just fire him like that. It's not that simple. So there must certainly be good reasons for Trump to be able to, undoubtedly in some way, get rid of Powell in his role as US president, in his official capacity as the president of the United States. It's not going to be that simple. But let's just wait and see how things go with Powell. What's quite interesting is the election program of the FDP. Now, Bundestag member Frank Schäffler has officially announced that they're also talking about Bitcoin reserves. So, for those who have been following this a bit more closely, they're now advocating for it. There was also a recording, or rather a video of Christian Lindner's speech, which has been shared multiple times, where he also accused our thankfully no longer Chancellor, quite a bit. Habeck was also there, along with all the other folks who have really driven the country into the ground over the past few years. By the way, that was the last political statement. In any case, They were accused of saying, hey guys, you really haven't done anything about digitalization. What a surprise. We're talking about Germany. Oh no, that was really the last political news, but you know what I mean? Definitely about Bitcoin and stuff. Not cared about it at all in any way, and now we might miss the train to jump on this if it isn't already at the next station. But anyway, they definitely want to include this in their election program. I also shared something about this on X yesterday because basically, I'll say it straight out, I'm actually quite positive about what Lindner is planning, as long as it's actually implemented and doesn't just remain an empty election promise 21. Oh wait, there's a small caveat. By the way, if you're looking for a cool hardware wallet, since it's right here on the side, we negotiated a bonus with Bitbox, so there was also an AMA and stuff before. So check out the description if you're looking for a cool hardware wallet, which is open source, by the way. That's why I personally like to use it. Take a look. I think you can secure a 5% bonus. Anyway, back to the FDP. In the FDP election program from 2021, there was something about cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and so on, without going into too much detail. How much of that has actually been implemented? Difficult. So this topic of crypto Bitcoin is now being picked up by several parties. So it's definitely not the only party that's saying, yeah, we're going to include that. But as I said, let it be for now, just to make it clear that just because this is being included, there are then also a lot of parties in 2001 who also want to have a say in this. That may be good in some respects, of course. But on the other hand, it can be quite difficult in certain respects because in some respects it is very rusty and entrenched and so on. So let's leave things in perspective. Bitcoin on the blockchain, and just wait and see what is actually implemented. By the way, it's amazing how this channel is growing with more subscribers, likes, and comments. If you like this video, give it a like to boost the algorithm. Most viewers haven't subscribed yet, so if you're one of them, please subscribe to help the channel grow. We're about to discuss a topic that deserves its own video. Let me know in the comments if you want that, as we're talking about the cycles of a bull run. If you count yourself among them, then feel free to subscribe. It helps this channel keep growing. And now I want to mention that we're getting into a topic that definitely deserves a complete video on its own. So if you want me to do that, just drop a comment and we can make it happen, because you're talking about the different cycles of a bull run. There are several factors at play in the dominance of Bitcoin versus altcoins. It's important to note that these stages or phases may not repeat themselves. Just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it will happen the same way now. Let's examine the parameters to see where we stand, as many are concerned about whether to sell altcoins or if the bull run is over. So just because it happened that way in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly the same way now. But now let's take a look at the individual parameters and see if we can figure out where we currently stand, because a lot of people are getting scared and saying, should I sell my altcoins? So it absolutely makes sense to think, should I just throw all my Bitcoins overboard because, wow, maybe the bull run is over? I wouldn't do that right now. So I can tell you that in my portfolio, I'm still holding on, especially to the small cap altcoins. This year, they usually perform last right before that parabolic rise. Now let's get to it. I'll show you the charts of the bigger altcoins and what they're currently doing. And then we can roughly figure out where we stand. If we take a look at the heat map now, well, what should I say about that? Well, thankfully, that's no longer the political image of our federal government, but it was definitely very bloody. Now let's take a look at what's next. We don't see any big surprises here, by the way. The fear and greed index has also shrunk accordingly. What a surprise. And if you look at the values here, we at least have a bit of a green impulse, but overall, yeah, it definitely went downhill. So in short, Bitcoin went down and the altcoins went even further south. Now we shouldn't forget one thing here. We have the institutions on board. You can see how Bitcoin is reacting to that. And with that, we have factors that have been significant in a bull run so far. So if you look down here, the inflows are, of course, quite restrained. Now we need to take a look at what's happening today. We're also just before Christmas, so that's another factor. But all in all, you have to say that there are quite a few million US dollars invested in Bitcoin now, and they can definitely move the market. Similar to MicroStrategy, by the way, I made a video about that yesterday, and you should definitely check it out because, in my opinion, it's quite a risky bet regarding those $80 billion. But okay, let's move on and see. We have a positive sign, and that is the market cap, which is definitely rising for Bitcoin. Now, of course, one could say, well, it's been going down for a month now. Okay, but if you take a look at these crazy phases we've seen, we're up since the beginning of the year, up over the last 6 months, up over the last week, and up over the last day, even if it's just a little. But looking at the weekly value, we've definitely seen a corresponding increase, even over the past year. Although Bitcoin has taken a stronger correction now, it's still a question of the time frame. But we do have a rising market cap. Let's take a look at the liquidation heat map. It's not looking too good. If we check here, quite a bit has piled up in the last 12 hours. So the trend could also lead us to go below the K threshold again. Because up here, as you can see, it's gotten pretty thin. And now let's take a look at Bitcoin before we get into XRP and all the other currencies. Well, so here we definitely had a correction. Since yesterday, I would say. And yes, there's volume here, but the trend is still a bit further down. And there's definitely more volume down here, so it's quite possible that we might go below the K threshold. We'll have to wait and see. Let's take a closer look at XRP. Yes, there was definitely a correction downwards. Oh, and as I mentioned, greetings to all the XRP fans out there. I said realize the profits up there, then you'll get more out and you can still jump in down here. But anyway, that's that. Definitely fought back here, so it went up a bit again. Now we just have to wait and see. It was tested well downwards, so let's see how it goes from here. By the way, just a little side note, the Ripple USD is now available. And surprise, there was no drama at all. So anyone who was expecting this and said, wow, there could be thousands at the beginning and so on. Hey, all good. So we have a peak upwards, and that's definitely something, at least 1,000 according to this list on CoinMarketCap. But I think that started relatively soon. Now let's take a look further. I pulled out Solana as an example for you, and it looks even gloomier. So if you take a look, we have an absolute downtrend here for now. Here, it's currently being tested according to Fibonacci, and we still have most of the volume down here at $145. We'll have to wait and sincerely hope that absolutely nothing more happens for the time being. Now, with that being said, let us proceed to our comprehensive list and carefully add one and one together. So, we have a Bitcoin dominance that's rising. Of course, you can depend on which time frame we're talking about, but I would definitely say we're still up here somewhere. Okay, so we have a Bitcoin price that, well, I would say is not rising, and it's not stable either, so we should be here. And then we have altcoins that are definitely not just going down normally, they're anything but stable. We can definitely call that a dump. That means, and as I said, feel free to discuss that in the comments, write down 2001 down there. Effectively, we have a dump here. That means we should just be in phase 2, according to this projection. Whether that's really the case, no one can say, but now we can wait and see what happens with Bitcoin dominance, what happens with the Bitcoin price, and what happens with the altcoins. It could really calm down a bit now, with Christmas coming and stabilize things quite a bit. And then let's see what happens there, for example, then happens in the new year. And if should explain that in more detail, also considering the last few years, then just write it in the comments and we can definitely do that. But now let's get to the giveaway and we'll jump right into the video. Yesterday, this bet could theoretically destroy everything for us, and that's not clickbait or exaggeration. I explained it very clearly in the video. I can also give you the tip, even if you might not want to keep it on your radar right now, take a look at it. That makes absolute sense. But during a bull run, no one wants to hear these horror scenarios. But I don't want to say in the end, I told you so. So, now we're going to do a drawing here. Let's get started. And we have Michi. I think, Michi, you've already won a few times now. Congratulations at this point. Genius and madness at the same time. Yes, that's right. Thumbs up. And of course, anyone else can do that too if they like the video. Now, for everyone who, like Michi, would also like to win more often, since we don't have many drawings left, might want to leave a comment. So for Michi, it definitely paid off. Enough about Michi. How can everyone else win in the new giveaway? I'll explain that to you best while I open the new package. So let's do that right away. That means you have an envelope here, and I'm going to open it. How can you win? First of all, if you're looking for a cool exchange to trade on, I can highly recommend Bitmap. That means you should create an account, and you can also secure a $25 trading bonus. How is that possible? Check the description, there's the link for it. Today there's only a chocolate bar in the TA, but it's a good one, that's for sure. Yes, because if you leave a comment, you can also win. So share your opinion. What do you think about the interest rate decision? How do you think it will go from here? And here's the little note for 500. That means 500 BitMax tokens that you can win just like I described to you. If the discussion is supposed to continue, feel free to join our community Telegram group where we can all exchange ideas. Link to that is in the description. Otherwise, there's the new Uptrend Trading group where you get coin tips, where you get bonuses, where you basically get everything. So you definitely should be part of it. See you in the next video. Until then, all the best. Bye.